Well, I feel like I'm living dangerously. I've been telling you that the rules of exponents are very, very strange. Sometimes students don't pay as much attention to teachers as they should. When I say exponent rules are strange, I'm not fooling you. I always used to tell this story on myself. I lost a job as a substitute teacher because I told the truth. And I hope that my sad experience will help you to remember just how strange exponents are. I went into a substitute situation, and the kids were kind of mad at me because I said, today the lesson is on the laws of exponents. And the kids said, we know you don't know any math, so we're going to have a free day. And I said, no, I'm afraid I do know math, and we're not going to have a free day. So I started to teach them the rules of exponents, as I have tried to explain to you. And to recap, remember, when you add quantities, you can only add like terms. And what happens to the exponents? Nothing. The exponents stay the same. When you add, you do nothing to exponents. If you have 5x squared plus 2x squared, you get 7x squared. The x squareds stay the same. You knew that. I hope you remember it. What happens when you multiply? When you multiply 5x squared times 2x cubed, you get 10x to the fifth. The x squared and x cubes, you add the exponents. What happens to exponents when you multiply? You add. What happens to exponents when you divide? If you've followed me, you know. When you divide, you subtract. When you take exponents and raise them to a power, you multiply. So to summarize, when you add, you do nothing. When you multiply, you add. When you divide, you subtract. And when you raise a power, you multiply. Those are the rules for exponents. Very strange sounding. Well, that class that I was substituting for was so mad that I was making them learn anyway, that one of the students went to the head of the school, sort of like the principal, and said, that lady that you had there said that when you multiply, you add, and when you divide, you subtract. And so he called me in and said, I've had a report that the students told me that you told them that when they multiply, they add. When they're to multiply, they add. And I said, when you're dealing with exponents, yes, when you multiply, you add. And he said to me, which showed he wasn't a mathematician, well, we can't have that. You can't tell them that when they multiply, they add, and when they divide, they subtract. You will not be invited back as a substitute teacher again. Well, I laughed and I said, well, I'm sorry, but everything I told them was completely mathematically correct. So you, listen to me again. The rules of exponents are weird. When you add quantities that have exponents on them, you add the coefficients, but you leave the exponents alone. So when you add, you do nothing to exponents, and you can only add things that have like exponents, like x squareds can only add on to x squareds, and x cubes can only add on to x cubes. If they ask you to add 1x squared plus 1x cubed, the answer is 1x squared plus 1x cubed, because you can't add things that are different in their terms, types. You can add their coefficients. When you multiply, you add the exponents. When you multiply, you add. When you divide, you subtract. And when you raise a power to a power, you multiply the powers. Raise a power to a power, you multiply the powers. Now, we've gone through that on the notepad or the smart notebook, and I hope you've got that learned. But don't be afraid to stand up for what's the truth. When you multiply, you add. When you divide, you subtract. And when you raise a power to a power, you multiply the powers. I hope that you are a great expert in the laws of exponents. Bye.